The Weekend Getaway. It started with whispers, little things Evelyn would say that no one should have known. A secret Jared never told anyone. A nightmare Louie had as a child. Rena's unspoken fear of deep water. They brushed it off, laughing nervously when Evelyn would tilt her head and say, "I just pay attention." Then, there were the disappearances. A stray cat Evelyn had fed every day, gone without a trace. The old man who ran the convenience store near campus, one day there, the next, forgotten. When they mentioned him to others, they were met with blank stares. Who? And Evelyn? She just smiled. When she invited them to the beach house, they didn't hesitate. A free weekend away, a chance to shake off the stress of daily life. The ocean, the bonfires, the laughter, it was supposed to be fun. But as they packed their bags, none of them noticed Evelyn watching. Her dark eyes lingering just a little too long. Waiting. The invitation was simple, a weekend getaway at a secluded beach house. Jared, Louie, and Rena had no reason to suspect anything. Their friend Evelyn had always been a little odd, but never dangerous. She was the quiet one, the one who listened more than she spoke, the one who always seemed to know just a little too much about everyone. Evelyn had chosen them carefully. Jared, the optimist, always saw the best in people. Louie, the skeptic, was too logical for his own good. And Rena, the heart of the group, was the glue that held them all together. They were good people. Too good. And Evelyn despised good people. The beach house was perfect, isolated, surrounded by endless dunes and the roaring sea. The wind howled like a warning, but they didn't hear it. They were too busy laughing, unpacking, and settling in. Evelyn watched them, her dark eyes drinking in their innocence. She smiled. The first night, Evelyn began her game. She left a rotting deer carcass in the fridge, nestled between the beer and the leftover pizza. Louie found it first. His confusion turned to horror as the stench of decay filled the kitchen. The flesh wriggled, maggots, fat and glistening, spilling onto the floor like spilled rice. Evelyn laughed, brushing it off as a sick joke. They believed her. The second night, the bonfire crackled on the shore. Jared bit into his burger and froze. A string of something red dribbled down his chin. He pulled the bun apart, tiny, human fingers peeked out from the shredded meat, nails still intact, gripping his tongue like they were clawing for escape. Rena screamed. Jared vomited. Louie stared at Evelyn, his face pale. "Where did you get this?" Louie whispered. Evelyn smiled. "I made it." Then she showed them what she really was. Her skin peeled back like a wet, rotting curtain, revealing something ancient and ravenous. Her mouth split open, too many teeth, too many tongues writhing in hunger. Her eyes vanished into black pits. Her fingers stretched into claws, bones cracking as if breaking themselves apart and reforming. They tried to run. Rena was the fastest, but Evelyn let her get a head start. She shifted into the form of Rena's boyfriend, calling her name in his voice. Rena ran straight into her arms, relief washing over her face, until Evelyn's mouth opened too wide, swallowing half her head in one bite. Rena's legs kicked wildly before going still. Evelyn chewed. Louie made it the farthest. He hid in the dunes, wrapping himself in seaweed to mask his scent. But Evelyn found him. She shifted into his mother, her voice gentle, crooning softly.
"Louie, sweetheart, wake up, it's just a bad dream."
He clung to her, sobbing, until her hands slid into his back, fingers breaking through his ribs like wet twigs. He coughed blood as Evelyn held him close, whispering lullabies while she ate his lungs. Jared locked himself in the bathroom, trembling. Evelyn knocked, her voice soft. "Please," Jared begged, "we were your friends." "I know," Evelyn whispered. She became him, his exact form, his face, his voice. When Jared opened the door, he saw himself staring back. He screamed. Jared's survival instinct kicked in. He slammed the door shut and barricaded himself. Evelyn laughed, her voice slipping under the door like a snake. "You can't hide forever, Jared." But Jared wasn't just hiding. He was thinking. Louie had always been the skeptic, the one who questioned everything. Before he died, he had muttered something about salt and iron, old superstitions, but Jared was desperate. He remembered seeing a bag of salt in the kitchen and an old iron poker by the fireplace. Evelyn's laughter grew louder as she began to break down the door. Jared acted fast. He grabbed the iron poker and drew a circle of salt around himself, just as the door splintered open. Evelyn stepped inside, her monstrous form towering over him. But when she tried to cross the salt circle, her skin cracked, black veins splitting open, hissing like burning flesh. "You think this will save you?" she snarled. "No," Jared said, his voice steady. "But this will." He lunged forward, driving the iron poker into her chest. Evelyn shrieked, her body convulsing as black smoke poured from the wound. Her limbs twisted unnaturally, stretching and breaking, as her face flickered between the forms of everyone she had killed. She clawed at him, but Jared pushed the poker deeper. "You're not real," Jared whispered. "You're just a nightmare." Evelyn's screams faded as her body crumbled into ash. The wind howled one last time, then fell silent. Jared tried to move on. He found a new job, made new friends. But something was wrong. At night, he dreamed of Evelyn's laughter. Sometimes he woke up with the taste of blood in his mouth. His reflection in the mirror would linger just a second too long, his eyes a shade darker than they should be. One day, he was at a coffee shop when he saw her. Evelyn. Sitting at a table in the corner, sipping tea, watching him. When he blinked, she was gone. He told himself it was trauma. PTSD. But the sightings became more frequent. Her face in his window's reflection. Her whisper in his ear when he was alone. Then, one night, he woke up paralyzed. He could hear breathing, wet, shallow, right against his ear. Fingers, ice cold, traced his throat. He forced himself to turn his head. Evelyn was in his bed, her face inches from his, her smile splitting ear to ear. Her voice was a whisper, sweet and venomous. "I told you," she said. "I am never done." Jared tried to scream. A year later, Jared sits on his bed, staring into the mirror. He hasn't spoken in weeks. His friends have stopped checking in. He barely eats. His reflection grins when he isn't. One night, the mirror shatters on its own. Jared stares at his fractured reflection, watching it move when he doesn't. His reflection is still there, smiling, waiting. Then, it moves. A hand, pale and wrong, reaches through the shards. The broken pieces slice Jared's skin as fingers clamp around his wrist. He tries to pull away, but the grip tightens. His reflection leans forward, eyes black voids, mouth stretching impossibly wide. "You've been such a gracious host," it whispers. Jared doesn't even have time to scream before he's dragged inside. The glass seals behind him, smooth and unbroken. The next morning, Jared drives to work looking different, feeling different. He walks in, smiling, greeting his co-workers like nothing happened. He laughs at their jokes. He eats lunch. He makes plans. No one notices the way he doesn't blink. No one notices the way his shadow lags behind. No one notices the faint, desperate pounding from inside every mirror he passes. Evelyn is here. And she's still hungry.
Hey there, horror lovers. Did this story send a chill down your spine? Then do the brave thing, smash that like button. It feeds the darkness and keeps the nightmares alive. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and step deeper into the shadows with us. Join our growing community, where the terror never stops. Want to be the first to witness the next horrifying tale? Click that bell icon. But be warned. Once you do, there's no turning back. And finally, share this video, if you dare. Because some stories don't just end. They linger. Watching. Waiting. Hungry for more?